Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that doesn't wait for the weak to catch up. It doesn't slow down for excuses, and it definitely doesn't reward mediocrity. In a world full of distractions, comfort zones, and compromise, the call of the hour is not just to survive, it is to become a walking weapon. But what does it mean? To become a walking weapon means you forge yourself into someone dangerous, not to harm but to protect, not to dominate but to lead. It means you are mentally sharp, physically capable, emotionally resilient, and spiritually grounded. You are not easily shaken, you are not easily broken. You're the kind of person who walks into chaos and brings order. You walk into fear and bring courage. Becoming a weapon doesn't start in the gym or on a battlefield. It starts in the mind. It starts when you decide you're done living soft. It starts when you stop blaming the world and start mastering yourself. The walking weapon is not someone who seeks violence or chaos, but someone who is so capable, so refined in their character and discipline that they become a force to be reckoned with in any area of life. This identity doesn't rely on brute strength alone. It's a complete integration of mind, body, and spirit into a form that's always ready, always alert, always in control. It's a person who has trained themselves to such a degree that no situation finds them unprepared. When we say become a walking weapon, we mean become someone so sharp, so honed, so unshakable that your very presence commands respect. Your words carry weight. Your actions speak louder than speeches, and your silence can be more powerful than noise. You don't react emotionally to every slight or failure. You process, you learn, and you adapt. You move through life with discipline in your habits, purpose in your steps, and clarity in your vision. People around you feel safer because of you. Not because you threaten, but because you protect. Because you can handle things when they go wrong. It's not about being feared, it's about being reliable, capable, and dangerous only when necessary. A walking weapon walks with calm confidence because they know what they're capable of. They don't need to prove themselves with loud talk or flashy actions. They've done the hard work in silence. The early mornings, the brutal workouts, the relentless study, the quiet sacrifices. They are not driven by ego, they are driven by duty to themselves, their loved ones, and to something greater than comfort. When you become a walking weapon, you don't flinch at pressure, you lean into it. You are not broken by hard times, you are built by them. The storms that destroy others become your proving grounds. And the best part, this isn't a gift given at birth, it's a choice made daily. Anyone from any background at any stage of life can decide to rise, to sharpen themselves, to harden their minds, and to walk this earth as someone who is truly prepared. Not to intimidate, but to lead, to protect, and to never be caught off guard. Transformation doesn't begin in the gym, on the battlefield, or in the spotlight. It begins in the mind. Before the first weight is lifted, before the first step is taken on the path of discipline, there must be a shift in mindset. The mind is the command center, the origin of every action, every reaction, every choice. Without mastering it, nothing else can be mastered. You can build the strongest body in the world, but if the mind is weak, it will collapse under pressure. The body follows the mind. If the mind quits, the body has already lost. That's why becoming a walking weapon starts internally, not externally. It's a battle that begins in silence, a war against laziness, distraction, fear, and self-doubt. And make no mistake, these enemies are relentless. They whisper lies like you can't, you're tired, you'll never be enough. But when the mind is trained, when it's disciplined like a blade forged in fire, those voices lose their power. You start to catch them in the act. You override them with stronger commands. Keep going. Rise again. Prove yourself today. The most powerful transformation happens when you no longer rely on motivation, that fleeting feeling that comes and goes like the wind, but instead develop mental discipline. That's what keeps you moving forward when motivation dies. It's what pushes you through the pain, past the setbacks, and into levels of strength you didn't know you had. The mind must become a place of resilience, not retreat. You can't afford to live in fear of failure, rejection, or difficulty. You have to train your thoughts to respond to discomfort with curiosity, to pressure with focus, to hardship with resolve. Every time you face adversity and choose to push through, your mental armor gets thicker, your clarity gets sharper, and your self-trust grows. And this isn't about pretending to be strong. It's about doing the work. Reading, reflecting, facing your own darkness, rejecting victimhood, and choosing responsibility. That's when your mind stops being your enemy and becomes your greatest weapon. Because once the mind is aligned with purpose, the rest of your life starts falling into place. No one is born disciplined. No one wakes up one day and magically becomes strong, fearless, or focused. All of that is built layer by layer through choices made every single day. Becoming a walking weapon isn't about talent or luck. It's about construction. It's about becoming the architect of your own character. You don't wait for strength to show up. You go out and earn it. You don't sit around hoping for confidence. You forge it in the fires of discomfort. Every disciplined decision, whether it's waking up early, saying no to distractions, training when you're tired, or staying focused on your purpose when others quit, is a brick laid in the foundation of who you are becoming. Discipline is the silent builder. It's not glamorous. It doesn't get applause. It's the thing that no one sees. The early mornings, the missed parties, the grind when it's raining, the studying when it's boring, the repetition when it's tedious. But over time, all that effort begins to shape you. The undisciplined wait to feel like doing something. The disciplined do it, whether they feel like it or not. And that is the difference between potential and power. A weapon is not forged from occasional bursts of effort. It's forged from consistent, deliberate, often uncomfortable action. You become dependable when you stop negotiating with your excuses. You become capable when you stop looking for shortcuts. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about freedom. When you have discipline, you are free from weakness, free from dependence on fleeting moods, free from the chaos of a reactive life. You take control, you write your schedule, you own your path. And what you build through that process isn't just a habit, it's a reputation with yourself. You start to trust that you show up, that you follow through, that you carry the weight no matter how heavy it gets. And trust in yourself is the most unbreakable form of confidence there is. So, don't sit around waiting to be ready. Start building. Start pushing. Start becoming. The more you build, the stronger you get, and the more unstoppable you become. Pain is not the enemy. Challenge is not a curse. These are the very tools that shape you, break off your weaknesses, and reveal the strength that's been buried beneath comfort and fear. Too many people run from discomfort. They avoid difficult conversations, hard workouts, uncomfortable truths. They dodge failure like it's a plague. But the truth is this: everything that turns a person into a weapon is found in the fire of adversity. The struggle, the setbacks, the days where nothing makes sense, those are the training grounds. That's where real growth happens. You cannot grow in the comfort zone. Muscles don't grow without strain. Courage doesn't grow without fear. Wisdom doesn't grow without failure. If you want to become something unshakable, you have to walk willingly into the places most people run from. Every time you push through pain, physical, mental, emotional, you level up, not because you're proving something to others, but because you're proving something to yourself. You are sending a message to your mind that says, I don't break, I build. Pain becomes your teacher, not your tormentor. You stop seeing it as something to escape and start seeing it as something to embrace, learn from, and be shaped by. Because pain, when handled properly, transforms you. It carves out patience. It engraves focus. It forges humility. And most importantly, it gives you a deep, unshakable understanding of your own power. Challenges are not obstacles in your path. They are the path. They are the gateway to your next level. Without them, you would remain soft, fragile, unsure. But with them, you become resilient, grounded, and battle-tested. The difference between those who grow and those who remain stagnant isn't talent or intelligence, it's willingness. Are you willing to go through the hard days without giving up? Are you willing to suffer temporarily to grow permanently? Are you willing to face your fears rather than fold beneath them? Every time life knocks you down, you get two choices. Stay down and let the pain define you, or get back up and let the pain refine you. And the more you choose the second option, the more dangerous you become, not in the sense of causing harm, but in the sense of being unbreakable, unshakable, unstoppable. Because once you realize that pain doesn't own you, that you can walk through fire and come out stronger, nothing can truly scare you anymore. Mastery of the mind means nothing without mastery of the body. The two are not separate. They are reflections of one another. When your body is weak, your mind suffers. When your body is disciplined, your mind sharpens. To become a walking weapon, you must be both mentally focused and physically capable. You must train the body not just to look strong, but to be strong, to endure, to perform under pressure, to move with power and precision, and that kind of strength is not something you can fake. It doesn't come from one good workout or from chasing aesthetics. It comes from showing up every day with intention and putting in the hard, often repetitive work to build something solid, something real. Physical training is more than a health choice. It's a statement. It's saying, I refuse to let this vessel fall into weakness. I will not let it betray me when I need it most. You train not for vanity, but for readiness. Because life will not ask you if you are prepared when crisis strikes. It won't warn you before it challenges you. Your physical strength must be there already. Like armor that's been tested, worn in, and battle ready. You become someone who doesn't flinch under weight, who doesn't fatigue in the face of challenge, who doesn't break when things get hard. You become someone who moves with control, fights with stamina, and recovers with discipline. At the same time, your mind needs daily sharpening. A strong body with a dull mind is like a sword without an edge. It might look impressive, but it's ineffective where it matters. You must feed your mind, just as you feed your muscles. Read, reflect, learn, not just casually, but like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. A sharp mind can de-escalate a fight before it starts. A sharp mind can lead others, solve problems, and stay calm in chaos. It's the mind that keeps you from being manipulated, from folding under pressure, from reacting out of fear. It's the mind that guides the body, and the body that follows with discipline. When your body and mind are trained together, they create harmony. You move through the world with a kind of quiet intensity. You don't seek conflict, but you're ready for it. You don't look for validation, because your confidence is built on proof, not pride. You are balanced, aware, and in control. That's what it means to master both arenas. That's what it means to become a walking weapon. Not just fit, not just smart, but fully capable, fully prepared, and fully present in every moment. Being a walking weapon is not about seeking dominance, control, or violence. It's about becoming someone others can count on in times of chaos, threat, or uncertainty. It's about cultivating power not for destruction, but for protection, stability, and purpose. True strength is not loud or reckless. It doesn't boast or intimidate. It doesn't walk into a room trying to prove something. Instead, it walks in quietly, confidently, with a presence that says, if something goes wrong, I'm the one who handles it. Being a force for good means being capable of doing great damage, but choosing not to unless it's necessary. It means having the physical, mental, and emotional tools to control situations without losing yourself to anger, fear, or ego. The world needs people who are both dangerous and disciplined, people who are sharp enough to sense a threat, strong enough to stop it, and wise enough to know when to walk away. You don't want to be the person who panics in crisis or freezes when others need action. You want to be the one who steps forward when everyone else steps back. That's what being a force for good really looks like. The ability to be calm in chaos, powerful without pride, and decisive when you've trained yourself to be ready for the worst, you become the best kind of leader, one who doesn't create fear, but one who dissolves it. This kind of strength cannot be faked. It is earned over years of self-control, reflection, and repeated effort. It means knowing your own darkness, the anger, the aggression, the fear, and mastering it. Not suppressing it blindly, but understanding it, taming it, and keeping it under control. That way, if you ever need to defend, to protect, or to act under pressure, you're doing it from a place of integrity, not from impulse or emotion. The most powerful people are not those who constantly show off their abilities. They are the ones who have it, carry it quietly, and only draw on it when duty demands it. To be a force for good, you must be trustworthy. You must be consistent. You must be the kind of person others look at and feel safer around. Not because you're aggressive, but because you're grounded. You don't need to chase power when you become power. You don't need to prove anything when your life reflects everything. People sense it in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you respond. You become a quiet storm, capable of destruction, but driven by peace. This is the essence of being a walking weapon who is also a force for good. You are dangerous by design, disciplined by choice, and useful by nature. Mediocrity is a silent disease. It doesn't shout or announce its presence. It creeps in slowly, disguised as comfort, disguised as good enough. It convinces you to lower your standards, to accept less, to play small so you don't upset the world around you. It tells you to hit snooze, to skip the workout, to settle for average, because everyone else is doing it. But becoming a walking weapon requires a complete and unapologetic rejection of mediocrity. You don't become sharp, focused, and powerful by doing what's easy. You don't become resilient by following the crowd. You rise by stepping away from what is typical and choosing what is difficult. Consistently. Mediocrity is the path of least resistance. It's the comfort zone where nothing grows. It's the voice that tells you to avoid risk, avoid failure, and play it safe. But safety never created strength. Playing it safe never built someone who could be relied upon in crisis. You don't become exceptional by living like everyone else. You become exceptional by making decisions that others aren't willing to make. Waking up early when no one's watching. Putting in reps when you're tired. Reading when others scroll. Pushing harder when others quit. Those choices, repeated day after day, are what forge greatness. They are what separate the average from the weaponized. Refusing to live in mediocrity means holding yourself to a higher standard, even when no one is looking, especially when no one is looking. It means doing things right, not just when they are easy or convenient, but when they are hard, thankless, and draining. It's about integrity. It's about building trust with yourself by doing the things you said you'd do, not because someone else told you to, but because you demand that much from yourself. And the more you do it, the more you distance yourself from the crowd, not in arrogance, but in elevation. You rise above because you've trained above. You endure more because you've suffered more. You are capable of more because you've earned more. You must become allergic to complacency. You must treat average like it's the enemy. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you know what you're capable of, and you refuse to waste it. Mediocrity leads to regret, to stagnation, to a life half-lived. But discipline, effort, and high standards lead to growth, to power, and to a life fully embraced. You weren't put on this earth to blend in or to coast through your years untouched by challenge. You were meant to fight, to strive, to push yourself into greatness, and that only happens when you slam the door on comfort and walk the long, lonely road of excellence. That's where you become who you were always meant to be. That's where weapons are made. In a world obsessed with noise, with likes, follows, validation and applause, true power lies in the quiet work that no one sees. Becoming a walking weapon is not about showcasing your strength for the world to admire. It's about doing the work when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, and when there's no reward in sight but growth. The world often confuses visibility with value, but the most valuable transformation happens in solitude. It's the late nights where you're still grinding when everyone else has gone to sleep. It's the early mornings where you're training while the rest of the world is still dreaming. It's the uncomfortable moments where you're holding yourself accountable, not because anyone else told you to, but because you've made a personal vow not to quit on yourself. The greatest progress is forged in private, in silence, in sweat, and in struggle. You don't need to broadcast your journey because your results will speak when it's time. People often look for validation too early in the process. They want applause after one step, but this path requires you to walk miles alone before the world ever sees what you've built. And in that solitude, your true character is revealed. You disciplined only when others are watching? Or are you the kind of person who holds the line even when the room is empty? That's where real strength is developed. In the absence of praise, in the space where excuses try to creep in, and you shut them down with action. Doing the work in silence isn't just about humility, it's about resilience. When you stop relying on external validation, you become dangerous in the best way, because your drive comes from within. You stop performing and start becoming. You develop grit, you develop consistency, you develop a mindset that doesn't need attention, just direction. You learn how to stay focused, how to tune out distractions, and how to stay locked in on your mission no matter what the world is doing. While others are chasing recognition, you're chasing refinement. While others are wasting energy trying to look strong, you're quietly becoming unbreakable. There's something sacred about private struggle. Something pure about putting in the work without the expectation of applause. Because when the time comes and pressure hits and life demands everything from you, it won't be the crowd that saves you. It'll be the countless unseen hours, the quiet suffering, the relentless discipline built behind closed doors. That's what shows up when you need it most. That's what makes you reliable under fire. That's what makes you a walking weapon. Not the noise you make, but the silence you endure and the strength you build when no one else is watching. Confidence is not something handed to you. It is something earned. It doesn't come from compliments, followers, or external recognition. It comes from putting in the work and knowing deep down that you did what others wouldn't. Real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to beg for attention or approval. It's the calm certainty in your eyes when you've shown up for yourself day after day, even when it was hard, even when no one else believed in you. You don't become confident by talking, you become confident by doing, by showing up, by refusing to let fear dictate your pace. Confidence is built in every rep, every disciplined choice, every moment where you choose growth over comfort. Too often people confuse arrogance for confidence. Arrogance is loud, desperate and fragile. It relies on comparisons and external status. But true confidence comes from knowing your own path, honoring your own standards, and being at peace with where you're going, even if no one else sees it yet. When you've done the work in the dark, when you've struggled through setbacks and kept moving, when you've taken losses but kept your integrity intact, something changes in you. You start to walk differently. You speak with precision, not because you want to impress, but because you no longer doubt yourself. That's what earned confidence looks like, not a performance, but a presence. And the only way to earn it is to suffer, to persist, to push through the voices that say you're not good enough, and to emerge stronger than the lies. Confidence doesn't grow in a life free of resistance. It grows in the pressure, in the failure, in the repeated act of rising again. Each time you overcome something that once broke you, you reclaim more of your power. You realize that no one else needs to believe in you because you believe in yourself. And that belief is unshakable because it's rooted in truth, not fantasy. You can't fake this kind of confidence. It's not in the clothes you wear or the words you say. It's in the decisions you make when things get tough. It's in the habits you follow when no one's forcing you. It's in the sacrifices you're willing to make for the life you want. And as you continue to build yourself, mind, body, and spirit, your confidence stops being something you think about. It just becomes who you are. You stop asking for permission. You stop needing approval. You become grounded, focused, and undeniable. Because confidence isn't about convincing the world you're strong. It's about proving to yourself again and again that you are. The mission never ends. Becoming a walking weapon is not a destination you reach, it's a way of life you commit to. The moment you think you've arrived, you've already started to decay. This journey demands that you stay hungry. Constantly sharpening, constantly evaluating, constantly pushing. No matter how strong, fast, disciplined, or capable you become, there is always another level. And that next level isn't about comparison with others. It's about the war within yourself, the battle between who you are now and who you have the potential to become. Every day you wake up, the mission is simple. Be better than you were yesterday. And that mindset is what separates the temporary from the timeless. Complacency is the true enemy of greatness. The moment you begin to coast, you begin to rot. That's why the mission must never leave your sight. It must guide your actions, your thoughts, and your decisions. It's not about working hard just to achieve one goal, then stopping. It's about becoming the kind of person who lives with purpose in everything. In your discipline, your training, your words, your conduct. You're not just chasing victories, you're chasing mastery. You're not just building muscle or skill. You're building character that can't be shaken by failure or inflated by success. You stay grounded in the process, because the process is where greatness lives. Every level you reach will demand a more refined version of you. What got you here won't get you there. That's why the mission is continuous. It evolves, expands, deepens. It's not enough to do what's expected. You do more. You stretch yourself in areas where you're weak. You challenge your comfort zones until they break. You expose yourself to failure so you can learn faster. You willingly seek out the edge, not because you enjoy pain, but because you know that's where transformation lives. You never stop growing, because you understand that the strongest weapon is the one that is constantly being reforged. Even when you achieve a goal, you don't relax. You reset. You raise the bar. You look for where you're still lacking, where you're still vulnerable, where you can still evolve. And this doesn't burn you out. It fuels you, because you're not motivated by applause. You're driven by purpose. You understand that your growth isn't just about you. It's about who you can protect, what you can contribute, and the standard you represent. You become someone others can lean on because you refuse to lean on excuses. You are the constant, the one who keeps showing up, keeps rising, keeps fighting. So as you walk away from these words, remember this. Becoming a walking weapon isn't about violence, ego, or intimidation. It's about being fully prepared, deeply disciplined, and endlessly evolving. It's about becoming someone who is forged in fire, but grounded in purpose. Someone who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't seek approval, and who never surrenders to mediocrity. This path demands everything, your effort, your focus, your heart, but it gives you something greater in return. Power with purpose, strength with stillness, and a kind of confidence that no one can take from you.